so many times I think that we try to fit inside of a box because we think that's what other people want, and we start putting these masks on. A lot of them, right? And it's like every scene, every environment that we're in, we're taking the mask off and we're putting the mask on, and we're never being our true self. We're never being our true self, all because we want to project the image of not what we're comfortable with, but what we think will make the other person feel comfortable or feel impressed by us. So what's up, everybody? Welcome to yet again another episode of Block Building, where we talk about things that we build. Whether you're building a network, building your self-esteem, building a brand, building anything that can be improved or developed, we want to talk about it. So today, you might recognize this guy over here. He was in episode number 2, building your relationship with God. So he's here again with me. But we're going to do a little bit of a change. He is going to be interviewing me this time. I'm not sure what these questions are, and I'm not 100% sure what we're building here, but I'm sure it's going to be valuable. So without further ado, let's hop into this thing. What's up, Robert? How you doing?
I'm well. Thank you for having me.
Hey, listen, I appreciate you being on the show yet again. Had some great feedback from the building relationship with God piece. So it's only right that we get together and do this again.
Got it.
So let's jump into this thing.
Okay. If there was a subtitle for this episode, I would call it Wayne's World.
Oh, Wayne's World. Let's go.
Talking about block building. So we know that idea came up from you. And what was the purpose of creating the block building? Block building,
for me, was to create some content for people to lay out a blueprint. Okay. Success leaves clues. You know, that's a cliche thing that we hear a lot. Right. And so I wanted to bring people onto the show to leave the clues of how they've gotten to where they are right now. Okay. So when I thought about block building, because we're all building something, whether we're building a business, a brand, building relationships, building self-esteem, we're all building something. So if we can identify, that's why representation is so important. If we see someone do the thing that we want to do, there's a certain confidence that comes with that. So I wanted to bring people onto the show that has acquired a certain level of success or that has mastered a certain area of their life and tell us how they built that block. Okay,
now, being that you just said that, unbeknownst to you, you'll see why the questions that I have for you tie into what you just said.
Okay, so excellent.
First question, who is Wayne?
Wow. Wayne is a person of many layers. Wayne is a passionate person. He is an engaged person. Wayne is all in or all out. Like, you know what I mean? Even in my dealings, as I look back on my life, and the areas that I found the most success in were the ones I just fully committed to. And you and I talked a little bit on the previous episode about faith. And that has been my biggest struggle because I've found it so hard to be all in on the faith aspect. And I've been so lukewarm with it. I've been so middle of the road with it. And I think my frustration shows in that regard because I've been lukewarm. But I'm definitely entering a season in my life where I'm all in because I see what middle of the road gives me. I see what lukewarm gives me. I see what being half in and half out, the type of life that produces. Not that it's a bad life because I've been extremely blessed, but I know that there's more. And this year, I have decided to be fully committed to this process, being in tune with God, being aligned, taking care of my mental, physical health. So Wayne is an ever-changing, ever-evolving. You can ask me a question today, I can give you one answer. You can ask me the very same question that tomorrow, and I could give you something different. Not because I'm being wishy-washy, but because every second, every minute, there has to be growth, there has to be evolution. I am terrified. My biggest fear is being the same person that I was the previous day.
Got it.
Lack of progress, lack of growth.
Right.
It terrifies me.
Got it. And the reason I asked you that question was because most of the time, and I'm sure you noticed this, most of the time when you ask people who they are, the first thing they'll tell you is what they do. Or I am an actor. I am a model.
Yeah.
Not what do you do. I ask who you are.
Who you are. That's so good. And it's so hard to put things in the box, right? I was just talking to my brother out in LA, and I've noticed as I've been on this journey of building 24th of May, as I talk to people about it, there's a certain sense of, not confusion, but it's hard to explain because how I'm doing it, I haven't seen anyone do it to that degree. And I sent him a voice memo. I was asking him, I was like, based off the work that I do, how would you describe that? And I was so hung up on the title. You know what I mean? But I think the title is what gives, the title is not for us as individuals. The title is to help give clarity to the people that we're communicating with. You know, and his response to me was, you are a serial motivator. And I thought about that because I try to stay away from the word motivational speaker because I feel like I bring more to the table than just the motivation piece, right? Because motivation is what gets us started. Like what happens when life punches you in the nose, right? What happens when something frustrating happens? How do you continue to push through the disappointment, the pain? So when he said to me that you are a serial motivator, and then he expanded on it. He said anyone that is connected to you, attached to you, or within your energy field, they will feel inspired or motivated to do whatever it was. And I was like, you know what? I can build on that. You know what I mean? So the reason why I don't lead with what I do is because I'm not focused on the title of it. Like, you know what I mean? I am so far past the point of trying to be impressive.
Gotcha.
You know? I want to be effective.
Got it. So with that being said, what would you say to your 20-year-old self?
Listen, and I kind of thought this was going to be a question, so I thought about this a little bit. This is what I would say. Value the opportunity. It's two things. Value the opportunity is one. And the second thing that I would say is, whatever it is you're doing, be excellent in it. And I'll explain. And they kind of go hand in hand. Value the opportunity. I remember when I was younger, fresh out of college, I was on fire. I had just helped produce this this demo for this rap group out of Atlanta who started engaging with a major record label. I was fresh off of doing an internship with Sean John and Bureau of Attack, which is the company that produces the New York Fashion Week presentations. And I was on fire. I could do no wrong. Then life happened. I ended up being homeless. And that's the whole thing. We can get into that later if you want to. But it was crazy because I reflected back and I was like, how did I come off of such highs of winning, and now I'm literally sleeping in the backseat of this car in the Walmart parking lot? How does that happen? Well, I was gonna say, and I thought back on it, I was like, I didn't value the opportunity. Things were coming to me so easy.
So would you say ego got in the way?
Ego definitely got in the way. 100%. I thought that's what life was. I thought life was opportunities just coming to you. And I didn't realize.
So with that, somebody watching, knowing who you are, being separate from what you do, will help you, because when the opportunity ceased and you ended up being homeless, you would have ended your life had you not known who you were.
That's it.
Because the opportunities were no longer there.
Right, that's it.
So many people lost stuff in 2020. So separating their who from their do is key. It's key. That's so good. That's such great insight. It was in those moments of in the backseat of that car with the light from the Walmart parking lot light shining down, so it's a shadow cast. And as I'm looking out into this empty parking lot, because it's like 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, and seeing people come in for their late shifts,
those thoughts came in my head like, what is all this for? Right. If I was no longer here in physical form, would it matter? But it was something that was inside that was saying that there's more. You're worth more. And I think that's what drove me to keep digging. And it was through that experience that showed me that life is not about external. Life is an internal thing. And as you get right internally, the external is the residue of the work that you're doing internally. Gotcha. You know? Okay.
All right. Now, what are you currently reading?
Man, you know what? I can't remember the exact title of the book, but it's talking about how to tell stories. Okay. As I am transitioning, or as I've transitioned into being a content creator, the power of telling a story is important. And if you think about life, we all have our story. And the stories that are most impactful are the ones that are told the right way. And so in this book, it's talking about, it gives a framework of how to tell the story, right? You have your main character, you have something that bad happens to them, you have someone that helps them get out of it. The antagonist, protagonist, the whole thing. Like there's a story frame, there's a story structure in which you work through.
Right. And speaking of stories, I don't think you can beat the stories in the Bible.
Man.
And if people don't, they think the Bible is boring, but if you read some of the Bible stories, it puts the movies and TV shows to shame. There are tons of stuff in there that you're like, wow, this is better than TV.
It is. You're absolutely right, because think about it. David and Goliath. Listen, I grew up a huge Rocky fan, you know? And Rocky is nothing but a production of David and Goliath. Like, you know, that's right, it's a modern day version of it. And it is the little guy fighting the big guy.
Right, metaphor too, yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So you're absolutely right. There are so many lessons, so many stories in the Bible that we use today to tell stories.
You just said, leads me to my next question. What's the biggest lesson you've learned so far?
Wow, the biggest lesson that I've learned that has helped me, and I hope people are really paying attention to this one, because this will help with self-esteem. This will help with how you view yourself. This will help in the process in which you do. The value in not caring about what other people think about you. So many times I think that we try to fit inside of a box because we think that's what other people want, and we start putting these masks on. A lot of them, right? And it's like every scene, every environment that we're in, we're taking the mask off and we're putting the mask on. And we're never being our true self.
Wow.
We're never being our true self, all because we want to project the image of not what we're comfortable with, but what we think will make the other person feel comfortable or feel impressed by us. So the big, and by the way, if you're trying to impress someone that doesn't like you, trying to do more impressive stuff is not going to make them like you. Like, you know what I mean?
Now, you mentioned masks. That was one of my questions. I deleted, but I'm going to follow the lead.
Let's get into it. Let's go.
We're currently, the whole world is wearing masks.
Ooh, yes.
Literally. But even before the literal mask, so many people were wearing masks.
Yes.
And as you just touched on that, you take, for instance, the young male, whether he's African American or whomever, that walk around with the tough facades. They're wearing the mask. And as you just stated on that, you know, I think the core is out of fear or not knowing who they are. So how does that, what do you think?
Listen, I think you are so right, and I think a lot of it leads back to the lack of self-awareness. Now, there is nothing wrong with wearing masks, okay? The problem comes in is when you're not aware of it, okay? Just the simple awareness that you're wearing a mask is powerful, because now in that moment, you can make a decision. You can decide to be who you are in that moment, or you can decide to continuously wear that mask or put on a different mask. The choice is up to you. This is the thing, because we have the power to decide, because we have the power to choose, we have to be okay with the outcome of that choice that we make.
Right, absolutely. So, how important is it to have the right people around?
Listen, I'm a living, breathing, walking example of not being able to shift into who I am and fully embrace who I am without being in a certain environment. I've told this story a couple times, but man, a couple months ago, you know, I flew back out to LA to go spend some time with my brother out there, and my other brother flew down from DC. And let me tell you something, the energy, the lifestyle, the mindset of people that are in Los Angeles, it's a different vibe. It's just different. And just being in that environment, it makes you think differently. And then being with my brothers who are both extremely successful, seeing how they think, seeing how their time is not controlled by another person, but by the purpose of the day, by the assignments throughout the day. So it's not like they're running to go check an email or running to go get on a conference call or running, just seeing how they navigate and how they move and how they did business and how this is a big one, how they invested in self. I have always been so scared to invest in myself. I've always wanted the approval of other people for me to go do. And if I show a video to someone or content or did something and I didn't get the response that I thought that I would, there's so much content that no one's ever seen before because I didn't get the approval of others. Now I'm transitioning and I'm seeing that the whole point of this life is to be your unique you and not fit into this mold that the world says you have to be in to be effective, right? Because there's so many layers. Listen, not only am I a leader, I'm a father, I'm a brother, I'm a husband, I'm a content creator, soon to be author, like all these things. And with all of that running through my mind, there's no way in the world I can fit into this perfect box. It's going to be oblong. You can't even tell what shape it is. That's how different it is. And I'm loving it. I'm loving it. It comes with its ups and downs, its insecurities, its challenges. But this journey that will pay off to be a legacy for my children, it's special.
Balancing your gift. And what I mean by that, the thing that we are gifted in can work against us if we don't learn how to manage it. Classic example, a person that talks a lot. Words have power. So their world is just in chaos based on the words that they're saying, but their gift is in their mouth. So how important is it to balance that, and how are you handling that?
So man, balancing your gift is something that I think takes observation. And let me tell you some of the things that I've observed about successful people, okay? People who have gifts, who are aware of their gifts and execute on their gifts, is this. They never talk about what they're working on. You only hear about it when it's complete. And I had developed a habit of always talking about what I'm working on. Like I'm doing this, I'm working on this. I've noticed that most successful people, you don't find out that they're working on something until it's done. Like the book just pops up, or like the movie's out, or like whatever it is. It's like, I didn't even know you got that role in the movie. You didn't tell me. Like, so I'm learning to balance not being so transparent, right? Because as you're sharing with people what you're working on, if they don't get it, they can easily put words of discouragement, a spirit of discouragement or fear or anxiety within you, right? So that is one thing that I've observed. But balancing your gifts and quiet, understanding when to be quiet. Well, yeah, with my gift is speaking. My gift is connecting. I've heard other people say that when I talk to them, they feel like they're the only person around, like, because I want to connect, I want to engage, I want to be helpful, I want to be impactful. But sometimes you can overdo it.
Now, balancing your gift. Now, if you look back at some of your childhood, being that you were a talker, did you see where that worked against you?
Yes, absolutely. You know, I would get in trouble in school for talking, you know, which is funny because as a parent, and I struggle with this, and I was just talking to my wife about this, is how do you, with my son, very similar to me. Likes to talk, likes to debate, likes to find a perspective, right? And early on, I would say like kindergarten, first grade, half of first grade, we had a real struggle with him talking. And as a parent, you know, I struggle with the degree of how do I not kill the ambition of wanting to socialize or having these new thoughts or asking the questions. How do I not kill that, but also help him understand that there are certain societal rules that you have to operate in. And I don't want to come down on him too hard because I don't want to kill that spirit of being a robot. Because at a certain point, if we're not aware, we become robots. We just start following the rules, same pace, same route to work, wake up, we do the same routine. So with me getting, I think my parents did a phenomenal job with being stern enough to get me to understand that we understand that you want to talk and engage and you like people, but when you're in certain settings, these are the rules.
So therefore, balance is key in all that we do. Whether I exercise, whether I get enough sleep, whatever I do, there has to be a balance. And if you think about equilibrium, and your equilibrium is all, people are, I think they have that dizzy thing going on sometimes. Your equilibrium is off. So sometimes even in life, my life is off kilter. Somewhere along the line, you're out of balance.
That's it. That's it. You're so right. Which